Okay, everybody, thank you for joining the webinar today, and thank you for your patience as we got everybody online here. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be talking about responding to negative reviews for dentists, give you a step-by-step guide and some practical things that you can do at your practice to try to respond when you do get those negative reviews. So you've worked hard to build a successful practice. You've pride yourself on great client relations, excellent care, the best technology, and you have many satisfied patients. But there's that one patient that wasn't happy and took to social media to share with the world how unhappy they've been with their experience. Does that one review have the power to ruin your practice? Take a deep breath. No, it doesn't. Today we're going to cover the steps you can take to respond to negative reviews and how you can lessen their impact to your practice. I'm Wendy Hensley, the marketing manager at WEO Media, and I'm joined today by Jody Manfredi, the National Sales Director. We're going to dive right into reviews and offer concrete tips you can put into place in your practice.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So I think one of the first things to keep in mind is that a negative review is not the end of the world. It's not crippling to your practice. We have several other recent and positive reviews. One negative review won't carry as much weight as a matter of fact, it can authenticate the other reviews. So I know that sounds a little strange, but the truth is that people reading reviews online know that not everyone is going to be happy. Not every review is going to be 5 stars. So if you have all 5-star reviews or all positive reviews with no negative reviews, not even a 4, it can appear as fake or what they call gaming in the review world. So if the majority of your reviewers are happy, that's what matters. Try to think of the negative review as an opportunity to publicly showcase your conflict resolution skills and your client service policies. You'll likely not change the reviewer's mind or convince them to remove the review, but you can respond back in a manner that's positive and doesn't create discourse. Try to speak to them instead of diving into the muck or the weeds with the person writing the review. It's better to pick up a phone and give them a call.
Thanks, Jody. So we're going to go through just step by step a couple things to take in mind when you do get a negative review. If my slide works here, there we go. The first thing is take your time. I know it's really tempting to fire off a heated response to the reviewer, but really it's far better to stay calm, give yourself time to formulate a plan, and not respond from an emotional place. Emotional responses can seem really petty to other people that are reading their review, and it actually encourages and validates the negative review. So make sure that you read the review the first time, step away from your phone or your computer, whatever you're reading it on, take a deep breath and just sit with it for just a little bit. There's no time limit as to when you need to respond.
Right, thank you, Wendy. I'm sure you've all heard that, that saying, don't, knee-jerk in an email response, when you're having any kind of conflict. So read the review, reread it, and then read it again. The first time you read the review, it hits you hard. It's your emotions take over, and you might not digest all of the reviewer's comments. This is particularly true if the review is long. And when someone has something negative to say, they tend to go on. So read it again. Then when you've read it a second time, go back and read it a third time. I mean, you could even have some of your staff members read it as well. Make sure that you read every word and try to understand the point that the reviewer is trying to make. Even if you don't agree with their opinion, which typically we don't, and sometimes they feel like they're not justified, but digesting the entire review is going to help you identify and truly understand the situation.
Yeah, and I think the next thing along those lines for step 3, Jody mentioned checking in with your staff. It's always good to research what the reviewer had to say. So while you're taking the time, check in with your staff about the review. Did they have an interaction with the person? What was their experience? Was there some kind of, was your office really busy that day? Were you a little bit behind schedule? I mean, there's so many things that can influence somebody's experience, and just checking in with your staff to get the full story can really help you formulate a good response and know what better to talk with the person when you do reach out to them. So knowing the background might lessen the emotional blow too, and some people like to leave negative reviews and have a history of doing so, but there are others that have legitimate complaints that can and should be addressed internally.
Right. So now you've had time to digest the review. You're going to formulate a response. And Wendy has written some really great responses. We've got some examples here, but just remember, it's always best to keep it simple. It's tempting to run through it point by point and address every single issue that they mentioned, but it's far better to keep it top level, more general, and definitely professional. So getting into too much detail can marginalize your response and actually get you into trouble legally. Of course, you have to be mindful of HIPAA. You can't get into any details about the treatment or the work. Even if they do, you cannot respond to it. Don't address that work. Be sure that the response is signed with the doctor's name. It really makes them feel special, like the doctor took the time to write this response. And it makes it, definitely more personal. Finally, offer an apology, right? Even if, you don't feel like this was, you're at fault or the office was at fault, as hard as it may be, you've got to say, I'm sorry. It can go a long way in the patient's eyes. They really appreciate that apology. So here are a few simple responses that you can use, and if you'd like, we can also email these to you so you've got them on hand. The first one would be, I'm sorry that you had a dissatisfactory experience in our office. We pride ourselves on providing excellent patient care and a wonderful experience for everyone. We appreciate the opportunity to discuss this with you offline, right? You don't want to get into too much online. So please contact our office at your convenience, Dr. Johnson. The next one, Wendy, I'm looking at I'm at step 1 on the screen, so I don't know if I'm frozen here. Wondering if our viewers can see the responses.
Let me see about that. I don't know.
Oh, there we go. I'm seeing
You're
it
able
now.
to see?
I do.
Okay.
I see it.
Sorry
I'm
about
sorry
that.
you feel there was, okay, no problem. So the next one was, I'm sorry you feel there was a miscommunication about our cancellation policy. We strive for clear communications with all our patients. Please check our website for full policies or contact our office for clarification. Here's a big one. People feel extremely disrespected when the perception is your time is more important than theirs, when we know that that's not true at all. So this is one that you'll probably be using a lot. We are generally punctual with our appointments, but there are times when we can get behind schedule due to other patients' unexpected needs. In dentistry, happens all the time. Our patients receive the same quality care, which on occasion may require additional time. We're proud to say that we're almost always on schedule, and our patients' time is very important to us. We're sorry that this wasn't your experience while at our office, Dr. Johnson. So again, remember that you can't discuss the specifics of the appointment, and you might want to remind them that because of HIPAA and your adherence to strict patient confidentiality standards, that you cannot confirm, deny the details of the statement made in the review, but please, give the office a call. I also, these are great responses. I would switch them up a little bit because I've actually, been on some of the review sites, and I see they all look at the response, all look exactly the same. Now every situation is going to be different, but if you can even just tweak it a little bit, a couple of words within that response, it won't look quite like copy paste, copy paste. So they all have to be pretty vague and top level, but if you can switch it up a little, it's a great idea. So
Yeah,
we're on to step 5. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Wendy.
I was going to say, I think that's a really good point, because I think, people want to know that, you're looking at it and you're responding to it, but obviously from a HIPAA standpoint, you do have to be careful about making it too personal. So even just changing a little bit in there, letting them know that you have read it. You can say, we've read your comments. We're sorry you feel that way. We'd love the chance to talk with you. Anything along those lines, I think, really goes a long way to try to repair or rebuild a relationship. And honestly, there's times when you probably won't want to rebuild a relationship with a patient, and that's okay too, but you should still respond, because what you need to think of is other people that are looking at that information. So it's not necessarily all about making that one patient happy, but it's about showing that you are listening, communicating, and wanting to hear from your patients, and that you're willing to make a response back to them accordingly. Okay, so step 5, the best way to combat a negative review is to have positive reviews. The more you have of the positive reviews, the less impact that negative will have over time. It might fall down in the list. It will definitely not have as much weight when you're looking at, SEO and that kind of stuff. And it's okay to ask your patients to leave online feedback when they're in the chair with the hygienist. If they're having a good experience, you can ask them at that point, here, if you're having a good experience today, would you mind leaving us a review online? Generally, if you have a good relationship with them, they're willing to do that, and they're happy to do that. Don't forget, too, to respond to the positive reviews as well as the negative. I think anytime somebody takes the time to leave you feedback, it's good for you guys to acknowledge that you've read it and seen it. This goes really a long way for patient interaction and communication. And I've included here just a basic response that you could have. Thank you for your positive feedback. We appreciate the time taken to write this, and of course our goal is for every patient to have an exceptional experience at our practice. But you could change that up any way you want to. Again, you just need to be a little careful with the HIPAA guidelines.
So these reviews, there's a number of really great reasons to gather reviews. They work in conjunction with search engine optimization. Of course, it's the way of the world, right? People, it's the first thing they do, and they're going to go online and they want to read your reviews. But they're also an excellent means to recognize training needs and service opportunities. So if you're consistently getting comments about one aspect of your practice, such as maybe confusion on insurance, which seems to be a big one, time delays, staff interactions, then it's maybe time to take a look at that particular aspect of your practice and make the necessary changes. So look at these as a really, valuable tool to helping you improve your customer service. So if a few people are vocal about an issue, making a change to your communications, your policies, or staff can prevent future issues and future negative reviews. So not all feedback that you get will be cause for change. I mean, some of it's silly and they couldn't find a parking space or whatever, but consistent feedback on one issue is a sure sign that you need to make a change, right? That there's something that could stand to be taken a closer look at. So we kept this really brief tonight. We know that your time is really valuable and you all want to probably get home if you're not already home already, but just in summary, no, you're not alone, right? Every practice faces this at some point or another, and how you deal with negative reviews is what's going to set you apart and draw more patients to your practice. So WEO Media offers an online review generation software. It's cloud-based, and it's We make it so easy to gather reviews. It's got a full analytic dashboard, so you can monitor, who's responding to the request for these reviews, how you're doing across the various review sites. It gives you the ability to handle multiple locations if that's the case, and you can gather these either via text or email and in real time. So you've got the patient in the office, they're happy, they're just left with either whitening or, beautiful new veneers, and you could see they're beaming. Ask if they don't mind, can I send you a quick text message? Would you mind leaving us some feedback? And that's another thing. It's funny, asking for feedback versus, just tweaking your language a little, asking for feedback versus reviews it's a small tweak to your verbiage, but it's a big difference in how that request is perceived. If you're interested, we're more than happy. Just give us a call on the 800 number that you see on the screen here, and we'd be happy to do a quick demo for you. Just let us know where you're located, and our senior marketing consultant from that area will get you set up with a quick demo on how that works. Questions? Can we get a copy of this presentation? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I did respond back to that one. I will gladly send it out. I'm not quite sure why everybody wasn't able to see the presentation, but I will send it out at the end of the webinar. And included in that is the examples of how to respond to the negative review. So if you have any questions other than that, let us know.
Okay. You're welcome to email questions to the info@WEO Media, and you'll get a response pretty quickly. You can email Jody, Jodi, @WEO Media. We keep this really simple, weomedia.com. And again, if you're interested in seeing how this the review generation service works, we're happy to do that. We can do that in 15 minutes for you. So any other questions about reviews?
I don't think so. I think I really appreciate everyone joining us today. Like Jody said, we'd love to answer any questions for you. If you do have anything come up, just reach out to us. And I appreciate your time in advance for joining us tonight.
Thank you all, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye.